The Premier League is back, and so is the frustration for Arne Slot's team. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1, and somehow we are still fifth in the league table. Welcome to Marching Reds. I am Aman Chima, and here I am to review the game between Brighton and Liverpool played at the Amex Stadium, in which we saw the Seagulls taking all the 3 points, and Liverpool are just left stranded. So let's start from the beginning. We knew it was a quick turnaround. We knew the fact that Brighton had the whole week to prepare for this game. But as a Liverpool fan, I was optimistic coming off after a glorious night at Anfield, and I knew it was going to be tricky. I knew it was going to be difficult, but you just felt positive about this game. And had we gotten over the line, it would have just sort of laid the perfect platform for all the games that were coming up after the international break. And then we could have literally attacked it knowing what the objective is. And although the objective, which is finishing in the top 4, top 5 spots, is not changed yet, but we've definitely made it harder for ourselves. So I would start with the lineup first. We knew that Alisson was out. We knew Mohamed Salah was out. And the two forced changes, which were Mamardashvili for Alisson and Cody Gakpo for Mohamed Salah, were on expected lines. But the surprising fact for me was that those were the only two changes. I sort of wanted Arne Slot to rotate a bit more, not because the players that he announced were lacking quality or anything. In fact, you could argue that everybody was coming off after a great team performance. But in this game, you could have started with a set of players who would have been comparatively fresher than the whole team that was deployed on Wednesday night. So Mamardashvili was in goal. In the back four, it was the same lineup of Milos Kerkez, Van Dijk, Konate, Frimpong. In the midfield, the trusted trio of McAllister, Soboslai, and Ryan Gravenberg. And up top were Florian Wirtz, Cody Gakpo, and Hugo Ekitike. Now, it wasn't a 4-3-3 sort of a formation. It was a mix of a 4-4-2. Florian Wirtz was on the left flank, that left central role, and Hugo Ekitike and Cody Gakpo were up top. And here, maybe you could have given Curtis Jones a start. Maybe you could have given Andy Robertson a start. Maybe you could have given Trey Nuni and Ngamoa another start, maybe. But like, I won't go that far. Or maybe for that matter, Federico Chiesa, just to freshen up a little bit. As I said, it's a quick turnaround. You're facing a tricky opponent in their home ground. So instead of just deploying the same lineup, apart from the forced changes, maybe you could have switched up a little bit, but it is what it is. And we started off the game pretty nicely. I mean, till the fact Hugo Ekitike got injured. And I mean, I think it was a dead leg issue, and he was forced off, and Curtis Jones replaced him, although not in the striker position, in the midfield position. And then you could see Florian Wirtz being pushed up a little bit, and Cody Gakpo operating as that lone striker. So even after that, we sort of were trying to build up our own momentum, trying to build up our own rhythm. But then the frailties of Liverpool 25-26 season came to the fore. And I mean, there was a lapse in concentration of like this 60-90 seconds in which Curtis Jones misplaced a pass. Brighton got a throw in, and when Mamardashvili had the ball, he tried to pass it off to Konate, who could not trap the ball, and the ball went for a Brighton throw in a much more attacking space. And then they switched the ball to the other side, towards the left back area of our side, and the ball is crossed in, and WEL-BECK sort of nudges Konate, who's not able to jump, and he has an easy header to start the scoring for Brighton. It was similar to what we saw against Manchester City in the Etihad Stadium when Erling Haaland scored that first goal. And again, I mean, it was their first chance. It was out of nowhere. We could have easily controlled that situation in multiple moments, but we, after 15 minutes, somehow are trailing 1-0 after being forced to make an early substitution and having our striker come off the game. And yeah, that was, I mean, not surprising. I'll be very honest, not shocking, but disappointing to say the least. Then Milos Kerkez gives us a lifeline. I mean, it wasn't a brilliant play by Liverpool. Lewis Dunk, who was trying to head the ball back to the keeper, was not aware of the fact that Milos Kerkez had actually curved his run in and was on his way to find that space between the defender and the keeper. And I have to give full credit to the Hungarian there. Like, what a finish. He just lobbed the ball without even taking a touch and got us back in the game. After conceding that goal, we sort of responded well. And although it wasn't the perfect play before we got that equalizer, but that was something that we really wanted at that point of time. And then there were sort of half chances of sorts for both teams, and it ended 1-1 at the halftime break. And I mean, I could have taken a point from there because, again, as the context is, you're traveling to Brighton, a tricky opponent who had the whole week to prepare for this game. And then, of course, we were coming after that immense high at Anfield. But yeah, like, you still have to play the game. You still have to come out for the second half. And as a fan, I was, what if we nick it and get the maximum points here? But that wasn't the case. In the second half, we were completely sort of outplayed, dominated, and yeah, no structure, no system, no rhythm, nothing of that sorts. And Brighton then get the go-ahead goal again for the second time in this game. And although I thought at that moment that it was offside because the ball is again crossed in, Virgil van Dijk loses his marker, and so does Gravenberg. And like, we made it so easy for them to win the first ball, win the second ball, and then Welbeck just, I mean, he didn't have a clinical finish to make. He was just there at the right moment. So 2-1. And I'll be honest, the first thought which came to my mind was it might be a blessing in disguise, because usually when we concede, especially late in the previous few games, suddenly we come to life and then we are just racing against time to get a glorious opportunity which we hopefully would score. But this time I thought, you know what, okay, still there is half an hour left to play, and if we can start that element of our game in which we are much more lively, in which we, like, suddenly get a boost of energy, maybe we can get back, and then maybe you could also get a winner. But that wasn't the case. Rio came on, Federico Chiesa came on, Andy Robertson came on, and yeah, still there was nothing. Although there were moments for Rio and Gamoa, who again was very direct, and that is something that has been lacking when he is not playing. But I mean, it ended 2-1, and when the game was coming to an end, it was more as if Brighton would score the third goal, because there were 1-2 glorious opportunities for them, which they, I don't know how the ball did not go in, but yeah, we didn't deserve to win. And I mean, I'll say it frankly, we didn't even deserve to get a draw if you actually look at the performance. So, I mean, no complaints, and it's not even surprising anymore, as I've said before. But it's frustrating, it's sickening, and I mean, it's not about the fact that you've lost the game. I mean, when you play a sport, when you play a game, there is an equal chance of you losing the game or like drawing the game. And of course, you would like to win the game. You would like to do all that you could do to get the result in your favor. But it's the lack of running, it's the lack of effort which was again on display. And yeah, I mean, even I am sort of tired of repeating the whole thing again. But I mean, this was the yeah. I mean, the good point is that somehow we are still fifth, and we did ourselves a favor by qualifying for the quarterfinal stage, because it just adds to the country coefficient when UEFA decides which league or which country would get that extra spot. That's what we are vying for. But if you look at the table right now, I think Chelsea, who lost the game, are on 48th, which is sixth currently. In the seventh position, it is Everton, and even Brentford are also sort of trying to, push their case up. So, I mean, I'm not competing with those teams. I would like Liverpool to win games. I would like Liverpool to get as many points and finish as high as possible. But what we saw today was another chapter of us being disjointed, broken. And yeah, something has to change because come April, like once we start the last sprint, one thing that we cannot be complaining about is our performance. And yes, results are a byproduct of the performance, but at least you take heart in the performance. But if the performances are not coming, even if you get the results, you know that there is something missing, and you can blame it on slot, you can blame it on the recruitment, you can blame it on the players, but it is something that every so there is no point in wasting your energy in blaming the manager, criticizing the manager. And I mean, he is also working with limited set of resources. And yes, do not get me wrong, I do sometimes feel that he could have done a lot more, at least in terms of motivating the players, because that X factor which we saw against Galatasaray was completely invisible here. And that is something that we can work on, even if we do not get enough time in the training ground to work on our systems or structure. But the motivation, the passion, that is something that is completely lacking. So, I mean, I can just only hope for the fact that as soon as April comes, hopefully we get Allison back, Salah back, and hopefully Alexander Isak can also play a pivotal role, because now we actually need him. And yeah, I mean, I'll be hopeful till the last day, but we need to be together to see the last day. And for that, we need to be together. So the international break is upon us, and it would be a good reflecting point for all the members of the Liverpool team to sort of reflect and maybe go to a fresher scenery and come back knowing that we've got a job to do. And I mean, if they are locked in, that would be the first battle that we would have won. So let me know what you thought about the game. Let me know if you agreed with the lineup that Arne Slot went for, because I did. And yeah, whatever your comments are, I'll be having a look in that comment section below. I'll see you very shortly. Till then, take care.